Hi, family. My name is Carla, and welcome back to I Tell Truth. Okay, let's start. Firstly, I literally cried on the story 8, I believe. So please do not judge me when I'm telling you that. Yes, I am emotional. You are going to hear me cry. But hey, I'll try it as the last time. I will try to control my emotions next time. Okay, today I have 16 stories for you. Real stories, but it feels like we humans are not human sometimes. Before I start, can I say something, please? Okay, I will not ask for subscribe, but hey, it's important to me. So please, if you like the video, maybe, just maybe, give me a sub and like. It would mean a lot. And I promise I won't say subscribe in this video ever again. Regardless, I love you and you know it. Okay, grab yourself a drink. Maybe let it be playing in the background because it's going to be a long ride. And hey, tell me, where are you watching from and what time? Okay, let's start.
Am I the a-hole for choosing my baby's baptism date on my nephew's birthday, even though my brother-in-law is mad about it? My husband, 31M, and I, 34F, have recently set a date for our son's baptism. It's not random. It's the date my pregnancy was confirmed by my OBGYN. OBGYN, fancy word for a doctor, but yeah, it's a doctor. And it coincides with the date my grandfather, oh, that's sweet, remembering a loved one, passed away 13 years ago. He was the last person to die in our parish before it merged with several other parishes. He was also deeply religious. So for us, it's like a full circle moment. I get it, a really meaningful date for them. One chapter ended, a new one starts. Here's where the drama starts. It's also my nephew's birthday, who'll turn 2 this year. My brother-in-law completely flipped out. Oh no, here we go. I knew there was a catch. And said we can't do it because of this, and that it's disrespectful. Thing is, last year, he and my sister-in-law got married on my husband's birthday. Wait, what? No way! Are you serious? They never talked about it or asked whether it's okay for him. They simply said it and said it's an emotional date. Emotional date, my butt. That's a little hypocritical, don't you think? Like our emotions matter, yours don't. For them, so we had to be understanding and go with it. They didn't even acknowledge him that day. OMG, that is so rude. Did they even give him a cupcake or something? That's messed up. We swallowed it, not happily, but quietly, because we didn't want to make a fuss. Good on you for being the bigger person, but wow, that must have hurt. Now we've chosen a meaningful date for our family, and suddenly it's a big issue. Yep, totally seeing a pattern here. Double standards much? It honestly stings that there's zero understanding. Of course it stings. You were understanding for them and they can't return the favor? That is so unfair. We even offered to plan the baptism and birthday at different times, like the baptism in the morning and the party in the afternoon. That seems like a really good compromise, seriously. But he's still angry. He's still angry? At this point, I think he just likes being mad or something.
Am I the a-hole for finally asking for the apartment back after my niece's temporary stay turned into 4 years? Okay, so little bit of background. My parents own a 3-apartment house. Wait, a 3-apartment house? That's awesome, but also sounds like a lot of family drama waiting to happen. I live on the main floor with them, my sister's on the second, and my niece, her daughter, has the top floor. That top apartment was actually supposed to be mine originally. Okay, that is super important info. It was yours. You had dibs. I even helped pick stuff out when they remodeled it. But when it was done, my niece moved in for a while. And that was like 4 years ago. 4 years, that's not a while. That's practically a decade in temporary time. What a sneaky move, snicker. I didn't see much because I didn't want drama, figured it'd be temporary, but it's been years and I still have no space of my own. Meanwhile, I'm the one here helping my parents with everything, bills, chores, appointments, whatever, because they're getting older and need more help. The whole reason I was supposed to have that apartment is so I could be close by and still have some privacy. My niece makes good money. Oh, for real? And she's still crashing in a temporary family apartment? Okay, that's not cool. She can afford her own place, nearby. I can't right now. Then recently, she started dating an old friend of mine, someone I really don't want in my life anymore. She brought him more without saying anything, and it honestly pissed me off. Yeah, I'd be mad too. That's your home. You deserve a heads up when someone you don't like is showing up. I know I can't control who she dates, but I don't think it's crazy to be uncomfortable about it. She also dated my best friend before, and I lost that friendship when it ended. Wait, she dated your best friend and now your old friend. Is she intentionally going after people you know? And her mom, my sister, has a secret thing going on with my other best friend's married dad. Whoa. Gasp. Okay, this is a whole separate disaster waiting to happen. That is a mess, and you are right to be stressed out about it. Somehow, I was the one everyone got mad at for being upset. What in the world? Why are they mad at you? You're just reacting to all this crazy drama that makes no sense. So, yeah, it's been a lot. Anyway, I finally texted her and said I need the apartment back. Told her I've waited long enough. I'm not trying to screw her over or make her move tomorrow, but it's time to start planning because I need my own space. Also said, just please let me know if she's bringing that guy over. A perfectly reasonable request. You're not kicking her out on the street. You're setting a boundary and giving her time. Instead of just talking to me about it, she ran and told her mom, who told my mom. And the next morning, I wake up to my parents already mad at me. Seriously? They're mad at you? Not the person who's been overstaying their welcome for 4 years and causing unnecessary trauma. Ugh. My dad said I can't tell her to move out, and he won't either. So basically, nothing changes, and I just have to deal with it. That's the worst advice ever. You shouldn't have to deal with being uncomfortable in your own home while you're taking care of them. Now everyone's acting like I'm selfish or trying to start crap. No, you're not selfish. You're asking for the space that was promised to you because you're the one actually helping out the family. That's totally fair. I love my family, but I'm honestly just done being the one who has to keep quiet and live uncomfortably so everyone else can feel fine. I hear you. You totally deserve to feel comfortable. Get that apartment back. For the record, the problem isn't her dating that guy or bringing her to her place. The problem is her bringing him into my home. Exactly. Your home. Well, the whole house is, but you have a right to feel safe and comfortable. And I'm also aware that I have the option to move out, and I'm looking into that. But I do care deeply about my parents and don't want to leave them alone. And since people are confused, both me and my niece do pay rent for our spaces. Okay, so she's paying to squat in your space while you're doing all the real work. No, definitely not the a-hole here.
Am I the a-hole if I talk to my friend about how much time she spends with her boyfriend? I, 21, female, have a best friend, 20, female, that lives with my family and me. Her egg donor, wow, egg donor, that's intense. Sounds like her birth mom was not a good parent. Good thing your family stepped up. Kicked her out at 18, and she has been living with us since. My parents gave her my mom's old car, basically for free. That's so incredibly nice of your parents. Seriously, that's real family love right there. Well, about a year and a half ago, my friend got a boyfriend. Their relationship has been great, and he's honestly the first boyfriend I'd ever approved of for any of my friends. He's a great guy, he's kind, he's funny, and so far he's only had a few resolvable issues. That's good. I'm glad she found someone nice. That's always a win. The only downside is that my friend is irresponsible with her time. Uh-oh. That's usually where the trouble starts, isn't it? Snicker. Her boyfriend lives an hour and a half away from us, but my friend and I are both literally moving in with him at the end of the year. Wait, you're moving in too? That's kind of neat. Like a best friend, boyfriend, roommate situation. I hope that works out. My mother had stated very clearly that my friend is not allowed to take the car unless the title is in her name, which she is working on. Oh, this is going to be the central problem. I can feel it.
Here's the issue. She spends literally every free day at his house. She only works 2 days a week. This last week, she was only spent one night at home. She's basically already moved up there and only comes back home when absolutely necessary, which firstly is going against my mom's one rule for her to get ownership of the car, and kinda like she's about to move out and she'd rather spend all her time with her boyfriend she's about to be living with and not the people she called her family that she's about to leave. I get that. It stings a little bit when someone you helped so much acts like you're not important anymore, especially before a big move. You're feeling rushed off. Would I be the asshole if I confronted her about this? I'm pretty sure she's planning on going back up to his house. She just came home today. When I tried talking to her about spending the entire week up there last week and she got all defensive, her excuse being that if she doesn't go to his place, then she's just sitting at home doing nothing, which, get the tux, we've been doing it together for 20 years, but also that's what you do at your house. Like our mom's one rule was she's not allowed to take the car when she moved out if the title is not in her name. Yet she takes the car to her BF's house for days at a time and only comes home when she has to. I could count on one hand how many nights she's had been home the last few weeks. You know what? You're not the a-hole for talking to her. You need to talk to her. Not just because you miss her, but because she's violating a condition your mom set. If the title is not in her name and she moves out with the car, your parents could be on the hook for insurance or something. The main issue is that car rule, and she's not respecting it. Definitely talk to her. Good luck.
Am I the a-hole for demanding my friend replace a hand-painted, signed copy of The Sound of Achilles my late boyfriend gave me? My boyfriend passed away about a year ago, and before he died, he gave me this custom book of the Song of Achilles as a birthday gift. Oh, wow. I am so sorry about your boyfriend. That is such a terrible loss. It has hand-painted edges from an Etsy artist and was signed by the author. Stop right there. That is not just a book. That is an expensive custom piece of art. And the signature makes it irreplaceable in a way. He even wrote a note to me inside the cover. My friend Elle knew all of this. She'd been asking to borrow it for months. No. The red flags are flying high right now. A custom book like that is not for lending. And I finally said yes because I didn't want to seem rude. Girl, you need to stop worrying about being rude and start protecting your precious things. I originally recommended she maybe buy her own book, but she got upset saying, I know she's unemployed and she can't afford to do that. Unemployed or not, that's not your problem. If she can't afford a regular copy, she can try the library, right? Wait. For reference, she will not sign up for a library card because she does not have a driver's license to get herself there. She doesn't have a license, but her unemployment status doesn't stop her from getting a library card. That's just being lazy. What a ridiculous excuse. Oh, after she kept begging, I got tired of it and told her it was sentimental and to please be careful with it. You told her exactly what it was. She knew the deal. When she gave it back, the cover had a faint coffee ring. A coffee ring? No way. And she annotated the entire thing in bright purple pen. Oh my goodness, deep breath. That is absolutely horrible. She defaced a memorial. Not smart or meaningful notes either. It was more like random paragraphs about her ex, doodles, underlines, and random notes like this part reminds me of me and Jason, lol. Ha! Wait, no, that's not funny. That's incredibly self-centered and disrespectful. She turned your gift into her personal diary. She also dog-eared multiple pages. Oh, that's just the cherry on top of the disaster sundae. That's basic book etiquette. Don't crease pages. I understand wanting to annotate a book, but I just don't think it's okay with a book someone else is lending you borrow. You are absolutely right. You do not annotate someone else's book, especially alone, and especially not a valuable sentimental one.
She also kept the book in the bottom of her bag where it was really beat up. So she didn't care about it at all. She actively abused it. That's a betrayal. I told her she ruined it and she laughed. She laughed, okay? That's a sign right there that she's not a good friend. Who laughs at someone else's grief over a damaged gift? And told me it's just a book. It is not just a book. It's a memorial and an expensive art piece. She said she made it more special because of the notes from a friend, and now it looks like it's actually been read. That is the worst, most arrogant, self-serving excuse I have ever heard. Urgh. And that my boyfriend would have loved how passionate she was about it. That is crossing a serious line. She's talking about your dead boyfriend to excuse her terrible actions. That is completely unacceptable and manipulative. He was studying foreign and English degree. I told her that was completely out of line and that I wanted her to replace it. You have every right to be mad. She is snapped back that I was being selfish and I only wanted money. Classic deflection. She messed up and now she's attacking you to avoid taking responsibility. She said the book is fine and I can still read it. I said I didn't care about money. I just wanted her to take responsibility or at least try to replace it. She said that it wasn't even available anymore and told me to let it go. She should let go of her sense of entitlement. She knows his custom and sign, so she knows it can't be replaced, and she's using that against you. Now, some mutual friends are saying I overreacted and that I'm projecting my griefs. They are wrong. Dead wrong. This isn't grief projection. This is a normal reaction to someone disrespecting your property and your feelings. It's a tangible memory loss because of her carelessness. Am I the e-hole for asking her to replace it? Or at least admit she messed up. I have already said a lot. Now, you guys comment down below. What do you think?
Am I the a-hole? I let me child watch K-pop Demon Hunters. I let child in grade 1 watch K-pop Demon Hunters. A first grader watching Demon Hunters? Okay, that sounds like a fun, high-energy cartoon. I mean, it's K-pop and demons. You know, the usual kid stuff. Wink. My child has watched at both my house and my co-parent, ex's, house, and with multiple family members, so this isn't a new thing or a secret thing. Everyone has been cool with it so far. This morning, my ex flipped out. Uh-oh, here we go. Always something, right? Demanding that our child should not be watching anymore because she found the lyrics in one song, How It's Done, questionable. Wait, one song in a whole movie? And the movie is PG? Huh, that seems like a massive overreaction for one song, doesn't it? The movie is rated PG? PG means parental guidance is suggested, not that it's X-rated. Plenty of little kids watch PG movies. I said my child will be allowed to watch with me. That's a really reasonable compromise. If you're there, you could hit the mute button or fast forward through that one song if you really need to. You're definitely not the a-hole here. Your ex is making a mountain out of a molehill. And honestly, a lot of kids' media has weird songs or themes these days. Am I the a-hole for asking roommate for recipe? A couple weeks ago, I was making food, and one of my roommates makes the same food sometimes. So I asked her what spices she put in it. I double-checked a couple times while she was sitting at the table filling out some paperwork. Okay, asking for a recipe tip? Totally normal. But maybe she was really focused on that paperwork. You know how it is when you're trying to concentrate. Woo! She implied that I was annoying her, and I was finishing making the food, so that was basically it. So you got the hint and stopped. Good, you weren't trying to push it. But recently, she keeps bringing it up. I thought as a joke, haha, OP kept asking how I make my food. I didn't think much of it, but she was always the one to bring it up, and I was just like, haha, okay, funny. Yeah, people do that sometimes, joke about small stuff. You assumed good intentions, which is nice.
But someone else told me she brought it up last week and was actually still annoyed and talked about it as if it's something I did constantly, even though I'm sure I haven't asked her about how she makes her food more than like twice. Wait, she's still bringing it up weeks later and not even as a joke and making it sound like you're harassing her for recipes. Seriously? That's a huge overreaction and kind of mean, to be honest. It was a single interaction. I like asking people how they make their food or what they're making. That's a nice thing. It's how you learn to cook, right? And it's a way to be friendly. Aw. We're all college students, so still learning to make stuff. And last year, my roommates would often be happy to explain what they had made. Exactly. Your roommates and friends, that's what people do. She's acting like you asked her for her social security number, not a spice blend. I also know sometimes when I'm following directions, I'll ask too many specifics. Is this the right amount? Did I get the right ingredient? Which I'm sure could get annoying. But again, it was that brief instance. Okay, so maybe you were a little bit much in that one moment, but it's not like you did it for an hour straight. You're learning, it happens. I feel really bad now for annoying her, but is it really so weird to be interested in what food your friends are making? No, it is not weird. It is completely normal and friendly. Your roommate is being really dramatic and blowing one small, brief thing totally out of proportion. She should have just said, "Hey, I'm trying to focus right now. I'll tell you later." And then actually followed up later. You are not the a-hole. She is for turning a simple question into a whole dramatic story.
Am I the a-hole for not waiting around for my friend when we make plans? My friend Kate, F27, and I, F29, have babies that are about 2 months apart. We love to try and do lots of fun things together with them. Aw, that's sweet. Having a mom friend with a baby the same age is a lifesaver. But recently, she started showing up an hour or more late to plans that we scheduled because her son sleeps in or because she puts him down for an unexpected nap before our designated meeting time. Okay, 1 hour late regularly, that is a huge amount of time, especially with the baby. That's basically changing the entire plan without asking. I used to wait for her, but then my daughter would start getting tired and fussy. Yes, been there. That's when everything goes downhill fast. And it felt like I was sacrificing our happiness and comfort just to accommodate my friend and her baby. You know what? You're right. You can't sacrifice your child's comfort just to be polite to a late friend. The past few times this has happened, I would arrive at the meeting place alone and text Kate that I was there at the time we agreed upon. But I started leaving when my daughter would get really cranky. That's a smart mom move right there. You prioritized your baby's needs, as you should. Yesterday, we were supposed to meet at a pumpkin patch at 11 a.m., and she showed up at 1 p.m. 2 hours late? That is truly ridiculous. That's not just a delayed nap, that's a whole new schedule. I told her that we were leaving at 1:30, and she got very visibly upset. She was short with me the entire time and ignored all of my texts last night and this morning. She was upset. She should be apologizing profusely for wasting 2 hours of your day. That is classic gaslighting right there. Being mad at you for having boundaries. Oh, I get that people can't help when their babies fall asleep, but am I the a-hole here for leaving my friend and her kid? Absolutely not. You're being a responsible parent and setting a clear boundary. Her lack of planning and communication is the problem, not your refusal to put your own child through a meltdown. If she wants to see you, she needs to respect the agreed upon time. You're totally fine. You go, mama. Am I the a-hole for leaving my family to fend for themselves? I, 20, male, am the middle child in a family that honestly feels like a case study for what family therapy tries to prevent. My mom's an alcoholic with serious psychological issues and a bit of an Oedipus complex. Okay, that's heavy. Sounds like a really dysfunctional, toxic situation you're dealing with that even Freud would throw his hands up at. My older brother, 28, who is a bit of an addict, dropped out of college years ago and survives off debts and favors that usually I end up paying for. So you're 20 and you're bankrolling your 28-year-old brother? That's not a healthy family structure, my friend. Not at all. My teen sister can't even make her own breakfast, and my 12-year-old brother, who's autistic, is probably the most emotionally mature person in the house. That is a sad but very telling detail. It speaks volumes about the people who are supposed to be taking care of him. Well, I'll be brief. Basically, I've been taking care of everyone for as long as I can remember. You are a parentified child. You had to grow up way too fast to handle their problems. I don't want to sound like a victim, but it's the truth. When I was a teenager, I spent countless nights picking up my mother from work events where she would get drunk until she passed out, urinate on herself, and start yelling at her coworkers. That is so traumatic. That is not a child's job, and I am so sorry you had to deal with it. My older brother constantly asked me for money to pay off his debts from buying marijuana, and my sister always came to me crying after another fight with my mother, or whenever she needed money for some emergency that turned out to be movie tickets. They see you as a walking ATM and a free therapist. They're using you. A few weeks ago, I received the best news of my life. I was accepted into a scholarship and internship program in London. Yes, that is fantastic news. You worked hard for that and you deserve it. It was an incredible opportunity because it was something I had worked hard for while studying and working 2 jobs. You are amazing. That is a testament to your hard work and dedication. I cried. I'm not even ashamed of it. For once, I felt that all the sacrifices and sleepless nights had been worth it. That night, I told my family, foolishly expecting them to be proud of me. They weren't. My mom basically asked me who would help her pay the bills when I left. Then she started yelling across the dining room, "She made your life-changing achievement about her bills. That is the definition of selfish." My older brother told me it must be easy for me to run off to Europe while leaving them to sink into this shit. Wait, your 28-year-old brother is saying you are leaving them? He's a grown man who needs to take responsibility for his own life. My sister accused me of abandoning me, saying I had promised her I would always be there for her, and then brought up the mistakes I made when I was 16. Bringing up past teenage mistakes to guilt you, that is super manipulative. She'll be fine. She needs to learn how to make her own breakfast. Yeah, he's just parroting the toxic he's hearing. He's the only one I'm giving a pass to here. They all called me selfish when I'm still the invisible pillar of this family. They call you selfish because you're finally putting yourself first for the first time in your life. That's actually a compliment because it means you're breaking free from their demands. They only value you for what you do for them, not for who you are. I've never thought about abandoning them or cutting off contact, but their reaction left me dismayed. It's more than dismay, it's hurtful. Their reaction proves that they'll only value you for what you do for them, not for who you are. I've been selling my things, saving every penny, organizing my paperwork, and preparing to leave at the end of the year. None of them talk to me anymore, and honestly, this time, I'm not going to apologize for taking a chance or thinking about what they want. Do not apologize. You are doing the right thing for yourself and your future. You're going to on demand. They don't even talk to me, and they spend the time talking shit about me. Honestly, the one I'm most worried about is my younger brother. It's not his fault. So am I the a-hole? Absolutely not. You are not the a-hole. You are a survivor who found an escape route from a toxic, abusive situation that has been holding you back. Your only fault was telling them about the good news, expecting a healthy reaction. You can still maintain contact with your little brother from London. Send him a postcard. You deserve this. Go, learn, grow, and don't look back. Cheers to London.
Am I the a-hole for asking my husband to cancel our anniversary trip to Everest? I got married recently, and my husband is an amazing soul. He is very thoughtful and loves to show love with small presents or acts of service. That's lovely. A thoughtful partner is a keeper. We also are both big travelers, and that's one of the many reasons why we connected so deeply on the first date. One major difference in our travel styles is that he prefers art, culture, architecture, shopping, beaches, and while I love those things as well, 30% of my trips are around hiking. Okay, so you like hiking and he likes, well, comfy travel. That's a classic travel difference, but usually resolvable. I'm not a good hiker, but I visit Colorado, Montana, northern UT, AZ, etc. for hiking 1 to 3x a year. Since he pays for a lot of the daily recurring costs, I have been paying for most of our recent travels. But he wanted to plan and pay for the 2 bigger trips for our delayed honeymoon and our wedding anniversary. That's a really nice gesture, taking over the big trick planning and payment. One day, he shared a link to a guided hike to Everest Base Camp. Whoa, from beaches and shopping to Everest Base Camp? That is a huge jump. In a group chat with the one friend I went to the Peru hike with, I didn't think much of it other than casually saying, yeah, sure, let's do it, thinking he'll probably circle back if really wanted to do it. That's what you get for being too casual. He took that yeah, sure to the bank. For context, my husband's longest hike has been around 4 to 5 miles at maybe 8,000 feet of elevation. He is reasonably in shape as we go to the gym together 5x a week to do HIIT classes, but he does not do anything for endurance training or focus cardio. Okay, hang on. A 4 to 5 mile hike at 8,000 feet is nothing like EBC. EBC is almost 18,000 feet and a multi-day trek. HIIT is great, but it doesn't prepare you for severe altitude sickness. That's where the problem really is. Well, fast forward to last month. He told me he paid for the $800 per deposit. Okay, that's when you should have had the real talk before the money went down. But I get why you're stressed now. I was surprised that it got so much since I haven't done research on the tours, and so I start researching. Then social media algorithms picked up my interest in Everest and started me down the rabbit hole of people dying on Everest, summiting, not base camp, but it's still creepy. And also the 1,000 folks stranded just trying to reach Everest Base Camp. That is terrifying. You are right to research and be cautious. This is not just a hard hike, it's a genuine safety concern. My husband got majorly hurt that I showed him videos of people dying, people having a bad time on the hike. He took it as an affront to his planning skills and his fitness levels. I get that he feels insulted, especially since he thought he was planning your dream trip, but he is minimizing the serious risks involved. He wanted to plan a trip that has personal childhood meaning to me. My parents used to collect plant samples in the Himalayas when I was a kid, and also share something romantic with me in a sport I enjoy doing. That is a sweet motivation, truly. He just chose the wrong challenge. The EBCI is very, very different in terms of endurance, food logistics, and more than the Peru hikes, though. And I just feel like with his preferences and physical condition, we shouldn't chance it. You are being smart and responsible. That's not insulting. That's caring about his well-being. Now, he's hurt because he spent $1,600 and I just insulted him, basically. I don't really want to go after doing thorough research. Am I the a-hole? You are not the a-hole. You are being polite when you initially said yes, but you did the responsible adult thing by researching a trip that had a significant risk. The problem isn't your reaction, it's that he planned a dangerous multi-day high-altitude trek without considering his own physical limits or strong dislikes like no showers. He seems to have completely misunderstood what this trip involves. The money is lost, but a terrible, possibly dangerous experience is avoided. You need to validate his intentions. I love how much thought you put into this, and I know you did it for me. But stand firm on the reality of the danger. But EBC is not a normal hike, and I'm genuinely worried about your health and misery with the cold and called up dude. Let's find a safe Himalayan hike to honor my family. You're being smart and responsible. It's not insulting. That's caring about his well-being. Am I the a-hole if I refuse to pick my daughter up from school? I, 34 female, have 3 kids, 17 female, 4 female, and 5-month-old baby boy. This school year, I have a senior in high school and a preschooler. Originally, I assumed that I would drop the preschooler off, then the senior, and pickup was going to go the same way.
But the senior schedule threw a wrench in my plan. Because of all the credits she earned, she only needs to take 3 classes, which is great news. That is really great news. She's basically finished high school. Good for her. But that means she's only in school for less than 3 hours. I would have to drop her off after school already started and pick her up 2 hours later. My issue is that she doesn't have her license, so I have to do the driving. The infamous mom taxi service, and you're the only driver. That's exhausting. I feel my life is literally just picking up and dropping off. I have to leave my house 4 times a day. 4 separate trips a day? That's just too much. You're spending all your time in the car, which is totally unsustainable. I feel like anytime I start something, I have to stop because I need to do a drop-off or pickup. The bus isn't an option because I would still have to drive to and from a bus stop. Yeah, that doesn't solve your problem at all. I proposed that instead of picking the senior up after 2 hours, I would pick her up after 3. Then I could pick her and the preschooler up at the same time. Wait, you're combining 2 trips into one? That's not just a good idea, that's like a genius level efficiency move. I could have a longer block of time to get things done and have the 5-month-old actually get a decent nap that doesn't involve a car seat, a solid chunk of time to actually accomplish something, and a happy, well-rested baby. That sounds like heaven. Am I the a-hole if I pick her up later? Absolutely not. You are being a responsible, smart parent who is prioritizing the needs of your entire family, especially the little one who needs a proper nap, and your own sanity. Your 17-year-old is almost an adult. Spending 1 extra hour quietly in the library or a computer lab while waiting for her sister is a perfectly reasonable expectation. You are optimizing your limited time. Stick with the combined pickup. Am I the a-hole for packing something I shouldn't have when I help my friend move? I helped my friend pack a U-Haul. That's a major friend move, literally. Helping someone move is serious business. He asked me to box up everything in the closet. The closet was full of a lot of random items. Old hardware, old mail, empty boxes, instruction manuals, etc. It was not tidy. There was a lot of stuff haphazardly tossed in there. Okay, so he gave you a blanket instruction to clear a messy space. That already sets the stage for accidental packing. I packed up the closet and went on my way. A few days later, he texted me asking if I boxed up the thermostat in the closet. I said I wasn't sure. I don't remember specifically putting a thermostat in the box, but I definitely emptied the closet completely. Anything in the closet was packed, unless it was clearly garbage. You followed instructions perfectly. You were told to box everything, and you did. He replied, irritated, saying, I'm not upset with you or blaming you, but goddammit my name, there was a Nest thermostat box right next to a ranky-dink-ass thermostat that was out in the open. Triple emoji? He says he's not blaming you, but the whole text is dripping with blame. I roll. So now the old thermostat is packed away in the U-Haul, but it belongs to the landlord, so he needs to find a way to reinstall it or presumably be charged for a new one plus labor. And he was blaming me for packing it away, claiming that I should have gleaned that this item I packed, the thermostat, did not belong to him based on the fact that it was adjacent to an empty box for a Nest thermostat. I knew he had smart thermostats in the house, but I did not know that they were his. He is seriously expecting you to be a mind reader and a detective. You were packing his random junk, not taking an inventory of his lease agreement. He gave a bad instruction. That's on him. I responded and said, there was a ton of random stuff in here. I had no way of knowing what you wanted to keep and what you wanted to toss or what was supposed to go with what. You told me to pack the whole thing up, and I did. You say you're not blaming me, but you low-key are replying I should have known it. I disagree. That was a perfect response. You called him out politely, but firmly. He needs to own his mistake. He said, I think it's more of a common sense kind of thing, but it's fine. I'll fly back to maybe clean this place up and turn in the keys, and I'll install the thermostat when I do that. Common sense is telling your paid helper or friend doing a huge favor, hey, don't pack that one specific thing. That is common sense. He's totally deflecting.
This really upset me, especially considering I went out of my way to help him move. He did technically apologize, but I sensed Stan was still irritated. I let it go and moved on. Fast forward to today, he is talking about how he may need to fly back just to put the thermostat back in. I offered to install it myself if you would mail it to me. As we were discussing this, he commented, "Yeah, it's fine. I know you probably just did it because of your ADHD. Oh my God. Now he's bringing a medical condition into it that is completely out of line and really offensive. That confirms he's been blaming you this entire time. I am really annoyed by this situation. I don't feel I should need to take responsibility for his mistake, i.e., telling me to box up the whole closet when he evidently had something in there he wanted to keep. Am I the a-hole for packing up the thermostat? You are not the a-hole. You weren't given a clear, albeit lazy, instruction. Box up everything in the closet. You executed that instruction. Your friend made a mistake by not checking the closet or giving a clear warning. His constant passive-aggressively, and especially the comment about your ADHD, is completely out of line and really offensive. That confirms he has been blaming you this entire time. He owes you a real apology, not a backhanded one."
Am I the a-hole? Had a heated argument with my sister over my assumption of my sister's past behavior on current situation. FYI, this may violate Rule 8.1, but I'm pretty sure the focus is on the conflict. If the mods want to delete this post, I will understand if that's the case, but I felt I have to post this to get this over my chest. Okay, I hear you. It sounds like a lot of family tension is bubbling up, so let's unpack this. For background, the situation started with my mom focusing on her studies. My mother speaks little English, and my mother needed help. I helped her over the months on her studies to the best of my abilities. That is very kind of you. Helping a parent with studies, especially with a language barrier, is a huge commitment. You're doing a lot of work. My mother sometimes used my sister to translate to the language barrier between us, and my sister knows more of my mother's native tongue than I do. I don't like talking to my sister if I could, and every time my mother called my sister for translation, it always ended up being my fault, and she either twist or put words in my mouth I never said. Wait, what? So your sister has a history of misrepresenting what you say? That is a terrible way to translate. That's not translating. That's manipulating the conversation. Grr. Not sure if she's doing this intentional or not for her own benefit or ego, but I kind of got fed up with my sister's translation for years. If this has been happening for years, your frustration is totally justified. You can't trust the messenger. Another thing to note, my sister's not helping my mother on her studies. So she gets to swoop in, cause drama, and not do any of the actual hard work. That's annoying. Last week, we went over 2 hours of study. But in those 2 hours, it mostly 1 hour and 30 minutes on going over a YouTube video on the subject, and the 30 minutes going tutoring/coaching the subject. I ended there because I thought 2 hours of tutoring/coaching was excessive. 2 hours is a long time to focus, especially for an adult learner. That was a reasonable stopping point. You were definitely not being lazy. I had a hobby of playing video games to reduce my stress, which I did right after the tutoring/coaching with my mother. I think my mother interpreted my action as I don't care about my mother's study and want to play video games. So she called my sister to try to translate her intention or frustration to me. The bad faith translation setup. Here we go again. So my sister called me and told me, "Why you stop helping mom?" Of course, I was very angry on her response and her tone against me. Of course you were angry. She used a loaded, accusatory tone when she called you. She didn't say, "Mom is worried about the time." She said, "Why did you stop?" That implies you quit or give up. This ended up with me responding, "Don't call me," and goodbye. Short, but probably necessary to shut down the immediate conflict, even if it was heated. Literally 2 minutes later, my mom come into my room, angry, saying, "You don't want to help, you ungrateful son." Looking back to it, I think she's not happy with the support she got from the 30 minutes tutoring/coaching, and her limited English words used those to express her opinion. Regardless, my anger was misplaced with my mother. Edit for clarification, my anger was probably the comment made by mom and my frustration with my system. Ultimately, this ended my mom out of the house for a couple of days. Edit for clarification, I did not kick her out of the house, but left on her own accord, resulting from her argument. Whew, okay, good that you did not kick her out of the house. But an argument that causes a parent to leave for days is serious and often points to deeply rooted problems, not just the misunderstanding about a 2-hour study session ending. That sounds like your sister added some major spice to the translation. Yipes. Okay, let's break this down. Are you the a-hole for yelling at your mom? Yes, a little. She's your mom, and she's struggling with language and studying. Your anger should have been directed at the source of the miscommunication, which is your sister. But are you justified in blaming your sister? Absolutely yes. Your sister has a proven track record of stirring up trouble and twisting your words, and her deflecting the answers prove she's not interested in being honest or helpful. She's manipulating your relationship with your mother for her own benefit. Ego, drama, whatever. You are justified in being angry with her and cutting contact. The drama and his severe escalation were almost certainly caused by her. So, no, you are not the a-hole for blaming your sister. You just misdirected on the heat of the moment. You've reached your limit with her toxic translation service.
Am I the a-hole for showing my friend my grades? So I have a small friend group, all girls ages from 19 to 21, and we were all sitting and talking while on break from classes. Me and this girl ended up getting into an argument, and my friend group is split on who's in the wrong. The classic friend group drama. It usually means everyone is a little right and a little wrong. So, for some background, the girl I got into an argument with is a dance major. I am a biology major, currently on pre-med track. We're in our 3rd semester of school, sophomores. This friend works 2 jobs, while I currently work 1. I also want to clarify that me and this girl both were being given money from our families every month. Her family stopped after our 1st semester because, according to her, they thought she wasn't budgeting well and spending too much money. Oof. Okay, that context is key. She's working 2 jobs, one of which she admits has bad pay, and she got cut off for budgeting issues. You're working 1 job and still getting some family support. It definitely sounds like she's under a lot of financial pressure. So our 2nd semester, she got a job, and then this semester, she got another because she said the pay sucks at the first one, which I do agree with. This is my 1st semester working. So the argument started when she was talking about how busy she's been, which is valid. I mean, working 2 jobs plus school is difficult. She asked if we had any advice on how to do better in her classes because she was frustrated with her grades this semester. She asked for advice, then an invitation to comment so you are not out of line to offer a suggestion. And one of our friends said she should quit one of her jobs. She was saying she won't be able to go out and get clothes and stuff. I started telling her maybe she doesn't need to go out so often and should focus on her classes. Your advice was practical, but maybe a little blunt. Telling someone to cut back on discretionary spending when they were already cut off by their parents can hit a nerve. But still, you're trying to help her priorities. I don't know what I had said wrong, but she got mad at me after that. She started seeing that I go out every weekend and I wouldn't understand because my parents haven't cut me off. So she turned it personal and made it about your financial situation. That's a low blow. She was deflecting the real issue, her grades, onto your privilege. I started telling her I just know how to manage my time well and that she could probably too if she quit one of her jobs. She started mocking me, which she does this often, usually as a joke, and said my grades were probably worse than hers because I'm the only pre-med she knows that doesn't spend every second studying. That mocking was definitely not a joke this time. It was a nasty attack on your intelligence and work ethic. She challenged the one thing you care about, your success in a tough program. I pulled up my Canvas and showed her I have all A's, along with all the exams I have taken this semester. Boom! The receipts are out. Cheer. She got pissed, called me spoiled, and walked off. She called you spoiled because she couldn't handle being wrong about your grades. She used spoiled as a way to dismiss your success and avoid apologizing. The first girl who said something laughed and said she deserved that. The other 2 girls said I should have just kept quiet because she was trying to rant.
Your friends are split because one sees the justice in your clapback and the others see the emotional fallout. Sometimes when people ask for advice, they really just want sympathy and validation. I feel bad because I can't exactly relate to her struggles right now, but I don't understand why she asked for advice, then got upset with me. I also don't understand why she only blew up at me when someone else said the same thing. Here's the deal. You are not the a-hole. You offered honest advice when she asked for it, and while your advice about not going out might have been insensitive to her financial stress, it was directly related to her priority problem: money for clothes versus grades. She became the a-hole the moment she attacked your grades and work ethic. She moved the conversation from a general discussion about time management to a personal, untrue insult aimed at your success. Once she did that, she invited you to defend yourself. Showing your grades was the ultimate proof that her entire argument was just a baseless, jealous attack. Your friends who said you should have kept quiet are wrong. Your friend didn't want to rant. She wanted to complain, ask for advice, reject the advice, and then blame you personally for her problems. You just ended the cycle by proving her wrong.
Am I the asshole for getting mad at my parents for using the money my grandma gave me for graduation? I, 23 female, have just graduated from university. I've always had a close relationship with my grandma, and she has given me roughly 1.4K converted to USD upon graduation as a gift. What a generous gift, and it sounds like your grandma really cares about you. As she isn't really good with tech, she gave my dad cash. My dad said he'll keep it in his account for the time being. The classic holding it for you trap. That's where I start getting nervous, even if the intentions are good. Sigh. Yesterday, I asked for the money as I had something I wanted to buy. My dad told me he has spent it and has nothing to give me ATM. Wait, what? That is completely unacceptable. It was a gift to you from your grandmother, not a family fund. I know 1.4K isn't a large sum of money, but I currently have no income, so it would really help me right now. It's a huge sum of money when you don't have a job. That's food, gas, bills, or a down payment on something important. It's significant. And what pisses me off the most is that he didn't even think of asking me before using my money. Exactly. It's not about the money. It's about the respect and the trust. He treated your gift like it was his to use. I had a huge fight with my parents, but they think I'm being ungrateful as they've spent most of the money on me anyways. Living expenses, education, etc. Oh, here we go with the "we raised you" defense. That's manipulative. Providing for your child is a parent's responsibility. It doesn't give them the right to steal a personal gift. They're trying to guilt you so they don't have to face what they did. Right now, I feel like my trust has been broken by the two people I trusted the most. Am I the asshole? Absolutely not. You're not the asshole. You are perfectly justified in being mad. Your parents essentially stole a monetary gift given specifically to you. The fact that they paid for your living expenses and education is irrelevant. That's what parents do, and it was never conditional on them being able to dip into your personal savings. The biggest issue is the breach of trust and the lack of respect. They used your money without asking and then tried to shut down your anger by calling you ungrateful. That is terrible behavior. They need to apologize and figure out a plan to pay you back your grandmother's gift.
Am I the a-hole for asking to meet my boyfriend at his family dinner because I needed more sleep? I've been physically and mentally exhausted this weekend. I waitressed at a busy club until 2:30 a.m. and had to cover a coworker shift last night, so I was on a 3-day stretch of long nights and have been having really bad sleeps, along with neck pain from not being able to find a good pillow. Wow, a 3-day stretch of late nights is brutal. You are running on fumes, and it sounds like you're doing too much. You definitely need to prioritize rest. I missed my own family dinner, Thanksgiving, in Canada yesterday because I was literally too exhausted to get out of bed. My boyfriend was invited to this, and when I told him I thought I had to cancel because I was tired, it wasn't a big deal, and he went about his day. Okay, so he already knew you were totally burned out from missing your own dinner. He knows your situation is serious.
His family dinner was today, and they wanted us there for 3 p.m. Last night, he slept over, and we didn't get to sleep until maybe 5:30 a.m. I finally fell asleep around 7, woke up around 9 a.m., and couldn't get back to sleep until 12 p.m. I set my alarm for 1 p.m., but I guess I slept through it. So he's also part of the reason you want to sleep so late. He knows how little sleep you got. He woke me up at 2:30 asking if I was getting up to go. I could hardly open my eyes, but knew I wouldn't be able to just rush out the door anyways, and if he didn't want to be late, he should just meet me there. We both have a vehicle. So I told him I needed to sleep for another hour and that I would meet him there. I didn't think it would be a big deal, considering dinner wouldn't be until maybe 6 or so. Maybe not ideal, but I didn't want to show up tired and grumpy either. That is a perfectly reasonable compromise. You offered to show up an hour late and you didn't force him to wait. You showed a lot of consideration for his time and your own health. He huffed away to the kitchen and then came back and said, "You have to come." And I got snappy and said, "Yes, I will come, but I will just come a bit later than you. I only had a few hours of sleep total and I need to rest a little longer." He huffed back to the kitchen and yelled, "It's just so embarrassing," and then left. Gasped. That is a terrible, incredibly selfish reaction. He literally made your serious exhaustion all about his social image. That is a massive red flag. He cares more about his family thinking he showed up alone than he does about your well-being. Shame. That didn't really make me want to go at all. When I woke up an hour later and didn't see a message from him, I felt unwelcome anyways and just went back to sleep again. Why burn myself out if that's the energy I'm going to meet when I get there? So I slept a couple more hours, and when I woke up, texted him that I felt his reaction was a little rude earlier. He responded and said, "I apologize, I was upset earlier," and that's all. I don't really know how to reply now because clearly he's not expecting me to show up at this point. That weak apology, "I apologize, I was upset earlier," is not enough. It doesn't even acknowledge why you were upset or the actual pain you were in. He's prioritizing his embarrassment over your health. You are not the a-hole. Was it selfish of you to want to sleep longer? I do feel guilty about missing both dinners, more guilty for missing my own, to be honest. But there's a huge family over there, and I doubt they're missing my presence. I am trying to find a balance between having boundaries and self-care. I have a history of burning out, and I would like to avoid it. But I don't know if my balance is swinging too hard on the side of my own wants and needs versus showing up for people. You are not the a-hole. Your physical need for sleep is not selfish. You are fighting off a serious burnout, which you have a history of. Prioritizing your health over a non-mandatory social event is the right decision. Your compromise was fair. You said, "Go now, I'll meet you there later." That showed you wanted to attend but needed a brief rest first. His reaction was the problem. Yelling, "It's just so embarrassing," shows a serious lack of empathy. His feelings were hurt, but he lashed out and made you feel unwelcome, which is why you didn't go. He turned a medical need, sleep, into a character flaw. Embarrassing. You need to reply and tell him that his comment was seriously hurtful and that your sleep was not optional, it was necessary. You are doing a great job at setting boundaries, and his poor reaction is not a sign that your balance is off. It's a sign that he needs to work on being more supportive and understanding.